When we talk awards, a huge part of what goes to who wins the award is the narrative going in. Not every player is going to get their fair look. The media narratives really do seem to play a huge role in shaping who gets the considerations, much like the fucking Grammys, which were a disaster in their nominations that came out this week. Anyway, uh, one of those big narratives going on right now is Luka versus Tatum. I'm hearing this discussion a lot. So I thought, why not give it a go? We're just, I think, 13 games in for Luka, 15 games in from Tatum. So much data still to collect, but 1/6 of the season in, we can have some early takeaways. So gonna do at large through the season and then use some recent games to dive a little deeper. So far, both players are averaging exactly 37.2 minutes per game. As I said, Tatum's played 2 more games than Luka. Luka has a league-leading 34.4 points a game on 49.7% field goals. Tatum with 31.1 on 48.1. So Luka scoring 3 points more on slightly better efficiency. On Tatum's actually kind of shooting the ball better than Luka everywhere else, though. He's attempting more 3-pointers a game, hitting at a higher clip, I think 36% ballpark for Tatum. Luka's around 29. Of course, Tatum able to take a lot more of them off the ball on the catch and shoot than Luka bringing the ball off the court. He's also like 87% on his free throw percentages to Luka's 76. So those two surprised me. The other one that surprised me, Luka's second in the league in steals, only behind our Anunoby, 2.1 a game for Luka. Tatum, unsurprisingly, ahead on blocks. So those are stats. You can't pull it all from there. Mention the Hawks game. For the Celtics, Tatum can have a below average game, and the Celtics can still win easy. No Brogdon, no Smart. Tatum, 30% field goal percentage. Brown led the team in points, but he was only able to play 22 minutes due to foul trouble. And the Celtics still win by 25. Not even close. They pull ahead in the first quarter, and it never gets within 5 or 8 again after that. This team has won 8 straight, and they're simply dominating. On the other side, for the Mavericks, back-to-back games against the Clippers and the Rockets, Luka has to do everything. 35 points, so right around that league average. Highlight of the week for me, his game-winning 3 after Dorian Finney-Smith almost turns it over. Luka catches it in an awkward position, just chucks it up with 2 left on the shot clock, and that would be 1 point more than the Clippers got in the rest of the game. As I said earlier, a really important part of the Mavericks winning this game was Bullock and Finney-Smith hitting a lot of threes that Bullock especially has struggled with so far this season. The Clippers making it pretty easy for them to have all the space in the world with a constant double teaming on Luka. But when he's playing like he was that night, hard to argue with the decision. So the Mavericks just barely, with a near amazing tier performance by Luka, pure magic, scrape out the win against the Clippers, who are one of the streakiest teams I've seen so far in this season throughout games. And then the next night, they need to rest Luka in the back-to-back, and they lose to the league worst Rockets.
Yeah.
So I just thought it brings my head back to last season. It's MVP Jokic, who won off the back of not having the 2 best players and having a team of bench or G Leaguers that he brought into, what was it, 5th, 6th seed? I think the 6th seed, with the Mavericks sitting right around the 6th seed, and Luka doing something similar, if not even more crazy and impressive so far. If you had to decide the MVP today, my vote would go Luka. If you had asked me whose shoes I'd rather be in, Tatum, no question. I don't know if you have any thoughts on this discussion or any of the games teams that got mentioned in there.
Yeah, no, I pretty much line up with what you said. The Rockets are abysmal, and that's a tough loss for Dallas. Atlanta, they struggle against teams that can take away a lot of what Trey does. Like the Raptors are another team that beat them by 30 points, and Trey Young is the engine of that team, and he gets disrupted by a ton of length, and that's what the Raptors and Celtics can provide in waves, right? They're elite defensive teams.
He's not shot the three ball well at all this season.
No.
It feels like a quarter of his bag is missing. The lobs,
But yeah,
the playmaking still have been incredible, but a really surprising start there.
Yeah, the shooting will come back for Trey, and the reason why Luka's percentages are low is because he refuses to take a catch and shoot three. Right, it's all off the dribble, all step back threes, so that's why his percentage is lower. But if you had him lining up more open shots, he would definitely be shooting a higher percentage.
For sure. But someone else would have to bring up the ball and handle the ball and run the offense for that to happen.
It's a pretty absurd usage percentage for Luka, but he's been out of this world right now, and someone who deserves every bit of praise that's been heaped on him so far. Another guy who I want to enter into the top 15 player conversation and has been an MVP to his team in his own right is one Shai Gilgeous-Alexander backs.
Absolutely. I think he's third in scoring so far and doing the 50, 40, 90 thing.
It's simply phenomenal.
I don't know how many game winners.
Yeah, and we saw this coming a mile away, but it's the same like Jokic Luka argument. He raises the floor of this Oklahoma City team so immensely. Like this is not a high tiered level team, and they have a 500 record, and he does it night in, night out as the focal point of everyone's defensive strategy and makes it look somewhat effortless. And now I know that's the style of his game, but he scores in so many different ways with floaters and 3-level scoring at the rim, really unique finishes. He shoots the mid-range off stepping left or stepping right back away from defenders. Of course, knocks down the three at a high level, had the game-winning three-pointer in the final seconds last night against Washington. But the part that I really love about his game is what he does when he picks up the ball, right? He gets into a pump fake on a mid-range, and DeRozan's someone as well like this who's got an interesting bag once you picked up the dribble. Luka as well, but so good at staying pivoted, looking for a space, and it's either a pass down low or to a corner, or he's faking another shot and stepping through and attacking the rim in that way. Just really clever bag of tricks from SGA, and I had to shout him out because I'm so happy to see a Canadian kid perform at a high level and what that means for the future of our country's success in basketball. But just as well, like it's hard not to root for him. He's just such a cool guy and is playing out of his mind right now.
I think we're one Canada seriously skilled fundamental big away from being second in the world internationally. Missing that, teams like France and Spain, they're going to give us trouble in the paint, especially under international rules. But the backcourt is there. I always mix the two up. Yeah, the guards and wings are there. It's just the lack of size, and once that's there. But yeah, Shai has been fantastic. If this Oklahoma City team was slightly more ahead of 500 and could keep up with the Mavericks, he'd be right next to Luka in the MVP conversation.
And all of this without seeing what Chet's going to look like next year as well. Yeah.
Can you imagine if they got Wembanyama?
Well, that's the thing. Is
every team. There's 6 or 7 teams. Can you imagine?
Yeah, it's going to be very unfortunate when they shut him down and tank yet again near the end of this season in a hope to get another top 10 pick. But the thing is if I'm them, I just play through it because you've got so many other teams' picks. And so you just start beating the teams whose picks you have and put them down the ladder. Like you got to start trying and winning at some point.
Yeah. You're going to ruin the development of so many players otherwise.